On the morning of May 31st, 2000, 19-year-old Jill Behrman laced up her shoes, grabbed her bicycle, and headed out for a ride through the peaceful countryside near Bloomington, Indiana. She never came home. Jill was a sophomore at Indiana University, warm, adventurous, full of life. She had a morning routine, a circle of friends who loved her, and a future wide open in front of her. That day, her only plan was a simple bike ride along a familiar rural road she had traveled dozens of times before. When Jill failed to return that afternoon, her family contacted police. What began as a missing persons report quickly became a full-scale search. Volunteers spread across the countryside. Law enforcement helicopters swept the fields and forests surrounding Bloomington. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Jill Behrman had simply vanished without a trace. For nearly 2 years, her family lived in a nightmare. No body, no suspect, no answers. Just silence. Then, in February of 2002, a hunter stumbled upon something in a remote wooded area in Morgan County, Indiana. Human skeletal remains, partially hidden beneath years of undergrowth and forest debris. Dental records confirmed what the Behrman family had feared since that May morning. It was Jill. Now investigators had a location, but the cause of death was impossible to determine from the remains alone. The forest had kept its secret for nearly 2 years. What they needed was someone who had been there someone who knew what happened on that rural road the morning Jill disappeared. The break came from the last place anyone expected. A convicted felon named Uriah Clyde Sawyer was serving time in prison when he reached out to investigators. He told them he had information about the Behrman case. What he said next chilled the detectives in the room. Sawyer described riding in a pickup truck with a local man named John Myers on the morning of May 31st, 2000. According to Sawyer, Myers spotted Jill riding her bicycle alone on a rural road. He stopped the vehicle. He abducted her. What followed was a brutal and senseless attack. Sawyer claimed Myers shot Jill Behrman and then disposed of her body deep in the woods, the same woods where her remains would be found 2 years later. John Myers was a local man with a prior criminal history. Investigators moved carefully, building their case piece by piece. Physical evidence, witness accounts, the geographic details Sawyer provided that only someone present could have known. In 2005, 5 years after Jill vanished, John Myers was charged with her murder. The trial that followed gripped the state of Indiana. The prosecution painted a picture of a predatory, opportunistic attack on an innocent young woman going about her mourning. Myers maintained his innocence throughout. His defense team hammered the credibility of Sawyer, pointing out that he had received a deal from prosecutors in exchange for his cooperation and testimony. But the jury heard everything: the evidence, the timeline, the details that matched. After deliberating, they returned their verdict: guilty of murder. John Myers was sentenced to 65 years in Indiana State Prison. For Jill's family, the verdict brought something, justice, they called it, though they were careful with that word. Their daughter had been 19 years old. She would have been 21 when her remains were found. She never got to finish college, never got to see what her life would become. Jill's mother, Carol Behrman, did not disappear into grief. She became a voice, a tireless advocate for missing persons and their families, speaking publicly about the unbearable weight of not knowing, of waiting for answers that may not come, of the systems that need to work better for families just like hers. John Myers appealed his conviction multiple times in the years that followed. Every appeal was denied. He remains incarcerated today. The case of Jill Behrman is a reminder of how ordinary the moments before tragedy can be. A sunny morning, a familiar road, a bicycle, a routine that became the last one, and a family forced to fight for 5 years just to see the man responsible sit in front of a jury. Justice came. It took 5 years, and it came incomplete, because no verdict brings someone back. But the truth came out. It always does. Thank you for watching Verdict Files. If this story moved you, subscribe and share it out. Every view helps us bring more cases like this one to light.